So I'm hearing that cherry pancakes are all the rage here. Let's go get some. Apparently I'm told people come from miles around for the cherry pancakes. Actually, I just made that up. Gonna head back to the room, grab a camera kit of sorts, a collection of cameras, and then I think I'm gonna hit a couple of these small towns up here before my boat takes off. Gotta be there at 12:30. It's around 10:30 now. Having a nice leisurely morning, in no rush. It's nice staying 2 nights in a place. I forgot I wanted to do that more often on this trip, and haven't done that many times, and it feels really good. Weather's beautiful, by the way. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but that's it. Cherry pancakes, that's all I wanted to say. See you later. Or see you, well, whatever. I'm not very smooth at this vlogging thing.
Doing something this year called 50 at 60, where I'm hitting all 50 states in 1 year. This is a continuation of that story. I'm in Door County, Wisconsin, trying to see what this place has to offer.
Not doing a little bit of exploring, hitting some of the small towns that are fairly close to Fish Creek. Ephraim, and I'm trying to think of the other one that I just went through. After this boat trip, I think I'm gonna head to the very north of this island. You can take a ferry over to Washington Island. I don't think I'm gonna go that far, but I'll go up to the northernmost section. I was just realizing as I went through one of these little small towns, I'm thinking, wow, it's a Monday, it should be slow. This isn't just like a weekend getaway for some people around here. I mean, this is, you know, you head up here for the week, a couple of weeks. Yeah, this is like, you know, hey, Monday, it's kind of like a weekend for them. This is, you know, people come up here to enjoy this summer holiday season, you know, or the summer season. I was talking to a couple of places. They say everything essentially shuts down in Fish Creek except for one inn. I think it's the Gull Inn. It's like the only place that's open. The only restaurant, actually. I'm now entering Ephraim, E-P-H-R-A-I-M. I don't know if I'm in the town. If I am, it's a tiny town.
Most of this vlog will be from the car, but I hope you find it slightly entertaining. Anyway, I'll pop in from time to time. Enjoy.
Yeah, I've never really made it to Martha's Vineyard or Cape Cod or any of those areas, but from what I've been told, this is, they kind of compared this area, Door County, many of these little towns, to that area. You know, I'm sure I'll make it there, actually, when I go to Maryland. I haven't plotted that part of my year down yet, but anyway, it's a very cool, first of all, it's a very, literally it's cool out. It's like maybe mid-60s, high 60s. I'm in the shade now, it's a little breezy. It's a great day to be alive, man. I just love seeing new places. I hope you enjoy this. It's nice having you along for the ride. You know, you can only do so much when you're here for a day. I mean, because it's essentially, I was here yesterday afternoon, but I'm here like one full day today. And put a boat ride in here in the middle of it. I'm looking forward to it. But I just saw that red trolley go by, and they say that's a really cool way to see these areas too. Of course, I'm seeing it with my car, so what the hell am I complaining about? All right, we are going to head down to Fish Creek because it is now 11:30. They say to meet down there around 12:30. I'll get there a bit early, but I think I have 1 or 2 more towns to go through. What do we got here? Let me look at the old GPS. This is Eagle Harbor here that I was filming in the town of Ephraim. Oh, and then we're going right to Fish Creek. So I'll just take my time going through here. We were just in Sister Bay. That's it. I think I'll put the GoPro on, or the action cam. We'll do a little footage as we drive.
Fish Creek Scenic Boat Tours. I highly recommend these people. We had a really entertaining guy that was narrating almost the entire trip.
We also have a cooler in the back. There's some water, soda, and a Skippy jar. Everything's $1.
Most of this trip was around the Peninsula State Park. Really cool to see it from the water, the viewing area that I went to, the lighthouse, that area. One of the cool things I learned, there's a ton of shipwrecks out here. Apparently, the cold, shallow waters preserve many shipwrecks to this day. I think there's some of them date back over 100 years. It's a good little hour-and-a-half tour. Learned a lot and was entertained. Highly recommend these guys. A great way to spend the afternoon.
Is that good? We're good? All right, so yeah, I went on this boat trip. It was really cool. I just did a little bit of B-roll while I was out there. I didn't really ever get my large camera out of the bag. The guy who was narrating this thing, he literally narrated. It was the captain and then this guy that was narrating. Apparently he does the evening tours too, the sunset tours. And he was just he was a really entertaining dude to listen to. For like an hour and a half, he never shut up. Well, I said that badly, I mean poorly. He never stopped giving us information. We talked about everything along the coast that we did. It's just a little hour and a half trip. He talked a lot about what parts freeze, the fact that it's Green Bay, it's not really Lake Michigan, how certain things were built, and talked about boats and the boat industry and Sturgeon Bay, and there's a few characters that kind of like got together and really built this area up way back in the 1800s. Heavy Scandinavian influence. So anyway, one of the things I do when I travel lately, if I go out for a month, or if I go out on a particular month, and why do I keep putting the glasses on? If I go out for a couple of weeks, toward the end, I'll grab one of these prepaid UPS boxes because I gotta be honest with you, I think I have a pamphlet problem, but I just want to show you these stacks because each one tells its own story. So here we go. We've done 7 states here and I have 7 stacks. As you can see when I started out, went to Galena. I loved Galena, but I knew I was at the beginning of this thing and I wasn't picking up too much paperwork or pamphlets and stuff. Got a little crazier when I got to Iowa. I was pretty excited about the Pella, where I was staying, so that pod got a little heavier. Then, where did I go? Oh, after Iowa, I went to Nebraska. Now, this just kind of shows my interest in Nebraska. After that, headed to South Dakota. The stack got pretty big. Mount Rushmore, the Black Hills, Badlands, a lot of stuff there. Then we went to North Dakota. I spent a little time in that national park, but did a lot of driving. So then we got Minnesota. Minnesota was awesome. I did the North Coast. And then I am in Door County. Oh, and then I also found this one, Yellowstone. Heading there next. Was that even remotely interesting? No, probably not. All right, we're going to take a little trip out and explore the northern end up here. So pretend this was all Wisconsin right here. The area I'm in is right up here. It's in like the thumb area, but at the very top of the thumb. That was a bad description. Anyway, so here we are. Was there a little? Ah, there we go. So yeah, we're right here. That's a map of Wisconsin, or that's the layout, the outline of Wisconsin. We're way up here. So in that area, I drove through Sturgeon Bay. I'm actually staying at a place called Fish Creek, and I'm going to take a little ride. I went through here quickly today, but I'm going to go clear up to Gills Rock, right up here. You can take a ferry to go over to this Washington Island, and then another ferry to go to this island. But I leave tomorrow, so I don't have much time. This yellow route here is the scenic route. It's like a kind of a big loop. So I don't know how much of this I'll cover, but I think I'm just going to go up and cover these little towns right in here. Sorry, these towns. And take you along for the ride. Maybe we'll catch a sunset, although it's getting really cloudy out. Let's have a little look-see, shall we? A little patio I've never had a patio this close to the ground. I don't know if you can see the cloud action. Maybe we'll get a nice sunset. Who knows? I haven't been getting many good sunsets. A few here and there. And I haven't really gotten up for sunrise. I'm going to have to change that next month when I go out. Or maybe the month after that. 5:30 a.m. sunrise. Little early for me. All right, let's hit the road, see what else we can find. So I'm driving through what they say is one of the most photographic, picturesque cities up here, Ephraim. And I stopped at this little beach. I just took a really quick shot, but I felt kind of weird because I went up to, there's a bunch of people sunbathing out there, and families and people, and they're all looking at me with my telephoto lens as I wander out there to get a picture of the town with the two steeples, or the churches. I mean, I went into the beach first and I couldn't really get it, so I walked further to the left. So when I was taking the shot, I was shooting over top of many sunbathers, but I got these looks like, what the hell are you photographing here? People laying out on the beach, bikinis. I just took a quick shot and got out of there. Anyway, gonna start the action cam as we drive through the small town. A couple more things to try to paint a vivid picture of what I'm seeing as I travel around here. I've seen at least 3 that I can remember, you know, plein air painters, guys that are painting outside with their easel and oils or whatever. Just saw another one that's reminding me of that. And another thing is that as I drove through that town, I kind of went off to the side and photographed just a close-up of the 2 church steeples, and then a kind of an it was up a little higher, so I just photographed a couple of quick shots of the town, traffic driving through the town. But what you don't get when I have these visuals and maybe throw some music in there is you don't feel the temperature, which is nice and cool. And I've got the windows down, but it's cool out. When I got out, I mean, it's every bit of about mid-60s. That's one thing, and you can't obviously smell the smells, and so it's not the salt air because it's fresh water, but you know you're near the water. It's crisp, and as I drove by the restaurants, I'm smelling the foods of you know, different things being cooked, meals being cooked. Some of these little inns have little barbecue pits in front of them, or propane stoves, and they're cooking and grilling. And it's just a mixture of all of that. It just kind of paints a beautiful scene. And then the sounds of people enjoying themselves and talking, and the kids yelling at the beach. It's summertime in Door County. Oh my gosh, there's a little craft fair going on. There's tents everywhere. I gotta get some cherries here. I went to go into a place earlier Oh, Island Lavender Farm Market. There is lavender. They just had a whole bunch of lavender back there. I gotta go back there. Do I? No. Yeah. Yeah, I'm turning around. Now we're talking. They were closed. Maybe I'll catch them tomorrow before I leave town. Shot a few quick shots of the lavender. I'll share them right here. All right, next up on our little discount tour, we are entering an area called Sister Bay. So if you thought that was small, the next one looks even smaller. Looks like it's called, doesn't look like it's called, it is called Ellison Bay. Just one thing I wanted to point out. What was I saying? Oh yeah, kidding. Not really. Ellison Bay, 5 miles. And then Gills Rock is the northern stretch. I'll probably loop around and get down the other side, but I think. But anyway, one of the things that, oh wow, it's one of those marine lifts, the boats up out of the water. I love this. I love that I'm so close to the water and I can go through the farms, the little towns, state parks. Again, Door County is, I had no idea what to expect up here. I didn't do a lot of research. And sometimes that's okay. And that's fun. It's part of the beauty of, well, nomadic travel, you know? Roaming a bit. I like the spontaneity of this. You know, I could be driving down here and just at any moment decide to take a left or right turn and go anywhere, down a side street or a little shoreline drive. If I'm looking at the map and it says shoreline or skyline or Bellevue, I'm there. It's part of the beauty of travel. Sometimes I'll drive through a little town like that and I'll see tables all over, you know, families sitting down to eat, groups of people. And for a minute I'm like, well, I'm out here myself. Yeah, that would be fun to be there, but this is really what I like too, you know? I'm heading off with my my ex-wife and my daughter next month to Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, and God, I hope this isn't noisy. Grand Tetons, Yellowstone, and Glacier National Park. And then I'm going to stay on, I haven't changed my flight yet, but I'm going to stay on a couple days to capture the northern part of Idaho. My point being, I think the reason I turn this on is as I drive through these small little towns, they really remind me, especially here because of all these little coves, they remind me of Greece. I'd pull into a Greek island like Paros or Naxos or Patmos or Eos or Santorini, and you find all of these little coves as you moped around or drive a Jeep around or whatever. And oh, cherries ahead, 900 feet. They have these gorgeous little, you know, places to eat outside right on the water with tables and chairs and little inns and pensions. And I'd go in, but it's closed. Damn, I gotta get some fresh cherries. So it kind of reminds me of Greece in that aspect. It's certainly not from an architecture or culture side or anything like that, or even, you know, temperature or anything. Look at that stone house. Again, I'm constantly, I may not look like my eyes are on the road. By the way, I'm 60 years old. I've been driving since I was 15. And knock on wood, I have never, in all of my driving through the United States, thousands and thousands of miles, and driving in Europe, and I'm, you know, knock on wood, I have never hit anything. Actually, I take that back. I think I swiped a little steel post and almost ripped the bumper off in Ireland as I was trying to make a U-turn, a really tight turnaround in a short little alley in the dark, driving on the left side of the road and all that. So little tiny scrapage. Didn't really lose the bumper, although it partially fell off. Outside of that, I've never hit anything. So I may look like I'm not paying attention, but I'm scanning. Actually, I'm looking for deer. I'm looking for defensive driving, you know. I'm scanning. You notice I'm not looking at the camera, right? Anyway, I don't know what I'm rambling about. I need some cherries. Ellison Bay unincorporated. I think we're there. Population 7. No, I'm not quite there yet. I'll let you know when we arrive. I'm at the top of the hill. Heading down the hill. What are we going to find? So I came down this dirt road to get to a county park. I'm not really wanting to do a lot of hiking, but I think off to the left of the cliffs on this northern end, you can barely see through the trees, but it's a really bumpy road. I can't imagine. I would imagine this thing's probably closed in the winter, and they don't open this till the snow melts. But I just wanted to, again, I got the dash, we'll call it the dash cam. It's actually affixed to the outside window. This thing has got potholes the size of Vermont. I just love these drives. It reminds me of our camp when I was a kid. We had a camp up in northwest Pennsylvania, and an area called Tynesta. And I have fond memories of driving through there. In fact, when I was on the boat today, I was reminded of when we used to go boating up there. And just, I got into this relaxed state. I was listening to the guy give all the bumps here. The guy was giving all of his, he was talking, narrating about what we were seeing. It was really interesting. But I'm just staring at this has got to be some bad footage. Just staring at the scenery, the coast, as we're riding along, and it just instantly transported back to when I was like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old, maybe younger, in the boat with the family. And I remember that like it was yesterday. Oh my, washboard. I'm grateful for memories. I'm grateful for fond memories with the family, and again, when I can explore somewhere and kind of equate that and connect with a previous happy time in my life. Travel takes on a whole new meaning, I hope you experienced that. I hope I made sense, and I hope that if you are traveling yourself, that you can get to make those connections. Again, I was talking about driving through these towns and being not lonely, but looking at families that were together and looking at groups of people, and for a minute missing that. But again, as I drove through this area just back there, I was reminded that I have that.
At the next stop sign, turn left.
And or had it many times, I just happen to be traveling by myself in this project. Actually, I really do like traveling alone. Again, for a whole host of reasons. I mean, if I'm arguing arguing with myself, and that's a whole other problem.
At the stop sign, turn left onto East Door Bluff Road.
All right, we're
Then
going
turn
to
left onto Back Bay
we're
Road.
going to somewhere else. I'll tell you when we get there. So I'm as far north as I can get. It's a place called Northport. This is where you get the ferry to go over to Washington Island. And there's a little bit of a line to get on the ferry. I could take my car over there. And there are roads there, but we don't have enough time to do that. We're about to go on a very curvy road here, and I've got the front camera going. The sun coming in, I don't know if we're going to be able to capture much of it. I'd love to pull off to the side of the road and photograph this. I might. They say, I've seen pictures of this road in the fall. It's supposed to be really cool. And there's an excessive amount of turns. They say they don't know why there's so many turns.
Ask Joe Cole.
Theories about there used to be power poles that they were avoiding, but I think it has to do with the designer of this road and how creative he was. Whatever, but it's very curvy and it's fun to drive on, especially if nobody's behind you. Check it out. Kind of sad as my little trip here is. This month is I realize now I'm on my last, probably my last scenic drive right now, and I'm at this county park. It's got a scenic overlook. Can't wait to see this. Where am I supposed to park? Anywhere here? There's a park between these trees. Let's go on a little tour. Check this out. I bet you this would be amazing when that sun sets. So that was a cool little scene. Obviously, that would look much more impressive during actual sunset, but I snapped a couple of cool shots, I think. I'll add a filter, make it look like it's sunset. And yeah, again, the trip's winding down. Sad to see it come to an end, but I've got 9 more months of travel. Little trips I'm gonna be taking. So yeah, I'm going down a really scenic drive now. There's cherry trees to my left. And look at this drive, would you? Rows and rows and rows of cherry trees. It's supposed to rain tonight. Clouds are starting to form. Would be a great place to see sunset, but I don't think we're going to see the sun as it sets. You know, out of all the places I went this time around, these 7 states, I think this Door County section has absolutely been my favorite. And I think I need to think about when I go back to, well, August is kind of in the books, but it's already planned. But the next time I go out, I need to really think about what worked and what didn't work, what I liked about this section. I don't know, maybe it's just because I just like it, but I think driving too far between locations and only staying one night is just not the best thing. I really don't get a deep dive. Like, I stayed here 2 nights and I really feel like I got a deep dive into this place. My goal here is to just share this experience in the hopes that somebody learns from it. And my gosh, I gotta turn on the other camera. This is amazing. It's really dark back here. So anyway, the next time I go out, it's probably going to be another, because we're getting into the fall now. And I think the amount of time that I spend trying to find places as I'm traveling is kind of wasted time. I'd rather journal. I'd rather, write blog posts and organize my video files and that kind of stuff as I'm traveling, as opposed to spending time trying to find my next lodging. So I really think this next time out, it's totally unlike me. I think I'm going to try to book all my lodging before I travel. We'll see how that works. I like pulling into a place and not having a place and really analyzing what's there and then choosing, but I haven't really been doing that. I've been finding that I've been booking it like the day before without even going there and exploring it for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Saying, hey, I'll go here. I need to just be surprised. Hey, here's what it looks like. Do I need to pay here? I guess. Whoa, there comes a Class A RV. There he goes. This is a campground off to the right. Let me, I don't really know what kind of hookups they have, whether they have full hookup, partial hookup, or you're dry camping. But there's a lot of tents here. There's a few RVs as well. And I tell you, every campground I've seen in Wisconsin has been gorgeous. I mean, they're amongst the trees. They're the campgrounds that I love. They're not the open ones. There's some in Florida and other parts, actually. Ones that I went to in Mississippi and Alabama. You just feel like you're in a parking lot with an occasional tree. Anyway, it's nice to be in the woods. It's nice to be traveling. And again, I keep saying this, but it's great to be alive. And by the way, along the Shoreline Drive, every so often there's a break in the trees. There's a couple of benches to sit there and enjoy the islands out there and the water. Here's an example of one of those. There's a little bench. And if there was a sunset, you would actually see it. I'll do a little more video. I'm gonna have so much footage to go through. I love Door County.
A lot of footage, but wow, there's been some out of focus footage here. I left a lot of this footage in just so you could see, see my excitement, I guess. Anyway, we're gonna bring this in for a landing pretty quick. It's been long enough.
I heard from the boat guy today that there's a place here that you can rent e-bikes to take into the state park there, Peninsula State Park. There's a couple of areas as I was driving through, I was like, wow, I wish I could stop here. Especially at the entrance, there's a really cool marshy area with a lot of birds, and it specifically said no parking anywhere, but I know you could pull an e-bike up and just park and get some photos. I would, there's the marina. I'm not going to get a shot of that. There's no sun. I would absolutely do that next time. And that being said, it's something I need to look into more, because you see a different side of things. You don't necessarily see. Is this the angle I was at? All right, this is my dinner spot. More on this later. I'm enjoying one more evening drive through the little town here. I love this town. I love this state. I just love travel.
All right, we're definitely wrapping this thing up now. It's been over 30 minutes. I've got a few more clips. I'll put together another episode next week to finish out this section. Thanks for being here. I'll close it out with a few images that I haven't shared yet. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here.